What if the strongest person you know is not strong at all, but simply very good at hiding their collapse? What if the discipline you admire in others is not confidence, but the fear of falling apart? Discipline looks clean, controlled, admirable. But what if behind every perfect routine there is a trembling hand and a quiet panic no one notices? What if every early morning, every strict habit, every flawless performance is actually someone trying desperately to keep their life from slipping out of their grip? People show you consistency, but they never show you the cost. And sometimes the most disciplined person in the room is the one who is suffering the most, silently, because losing control, not life, is what terrifies them the most. They wake before the sun, not out of passion, but because stillness feels dangerous. The clock ticks sharply in a quiet room that is almost too clean, every object in its exact place. Their morning routine moves with mechanical precision. One mug on the counter, water boiling, no clutter, no warmth. The cold light slips through the blinds and lands on a notebook filled edge to edge with checklists, no blank spaces, no pauses. They train hard, hitting every rep, every step, every target with perfect form. Yet their eyes never soften, their shoulders never drop. The discipline looks impressive from the outside, but up close it feels like someone trying to outrun something. The silence of their home, the emptiness of their schedule, the rigid way they move, everything hints that their control is not strength, but a shield they cannot put down. Extreme discipline does not usually grow from ambition, it grows from fear. It begins in childhood, in homes where unpredictability ruled the atmosphere. You learned early that calm moments could change without warning, that a parent's mood could flip in seconds. You walked on eggshells, reading every small shift in tone or expression, adjusting yourself before anything went wrong. Mistakes felt dangerous, not educational. A single misplaced object could start an argument. A forgotten chore could trigger a storm. You learned to clean your room perfectly, not because you loved order, but because perfection kept you safe. You learned to stay quiet, not because you were shy, but because speaking made you vulnerable to being dismissed or criticized. You avoided asking for help because asking meant being told you were too demanding, too sensitive, too much. Over time, you began to carry responsibilities that did not belong to you. Hyper-responsibility became your default. You took care of others to avoid being hurt by them. You also learned hyper-independence. Relying on people felt dangerous because people were unpredictable. So you became your own protector, your own provider, your own emotional support. You controlled everything you could, your room, your routine, your performance, because the things you could not control had scared you for years. As an adult, this transforms into extreme discipline. A perfectly organized home, strict routines, no messy emotions, no asking for help, no mistakes allowed. From the outside, it looks like strength. Inside, it feels like survival. The disciplined adult is often just the frightened child who learned to stay safe by holding tightly to everything they could control. Discipline slowly stops being a habit and becomes a mask you wear every day. What began as a way to stay safe turns into the personality people recognize you by. You hide anxiety behind productivity, convincing yourself that if you stay busy enough, the fear will not catch up. You hide loneliness behind strict routines, filling every hour with structure so you never have to face the silence underneath. You hide the fear of failure behind perfectionism, believing that everything is flawless, no one will see how fragile you feel inside. You move through life with polite smiles, answering questions briefly, keeping conversations surface level so no one gets close enough to notice the trembling behind your composure. You avoid situations you cannot predict, staying away from spontaneous plans, unpredictable people, or anything that requires emotional openness. When you feel insecure, you do not slow down, you work harder, you push yourself further. You turn effort into armor, believing that exhaustion is safer than vulnerability. Little by little, discipline becomes your identity, not because it is healthy, not because it brings joy, but because it feels safe. It becomes the familiar shield you use to navigate a world that once taught you that being unprepared meant being hurt. You are not addicted to order, you are attached to the safety it gives you. Over time, the mask becomes so natural that you forget it started as protection, not personality. The cost of extreme discipline runs far deeper than anyone sees. Emotionally, it numbs you. You stop feeling joy because every choice, every action, every moment is measured, accounted for, and controlled. Spontaneous laughter, genuine excitement, the thrill of uncertainty, all are trimmed away to maintain the structure you built. Sadness is contained too, tucked behind routines and checklists, suppressed so meticulously that even grief seems like a threat to your orderly life. The world becomes a ledger of right and wrong, done and undone, leaving almost no room for your own feelings. You survive in precision, but the emotional texture of life fades. Flexibility disappears. One small deviation from the plan can feel catastrophic. A missed workout, a delayed task, or a minor social misstep triggers an inner panic that is disproportionate but unavoidable. The foundation you built feels like it could crack at any moment. You build a glass world and call it discipline, but glass is fragile. One small ripple, a sudden demand, a spontaneous change, or a moment of chaos threatens to shatter the delicate balance you cling to. And every time it does, the panic intensifies, driving you to double down on control. Loneliness grows silently. You appear strong, capable, unflappable, so no one steps in to check on you. Vulnerability is avoided at all costs because letting anyone in feels like losing control. You see your efficiency, your calm exterior, your unwavering productivity, but you don't see the exhaustion that gnaws at you from within. You don't see the tension in your shoulders, the way your jaw clenches when a small ripple appears in your routine, or the quiet weight pressing on your chest as you lie awake at night. The world assumes you're fine, but inside you fight a private battle every single day.
Burnout becomes inevitable. The cycle is merciless. Push harder, achieve more, rest just enough to continue, then push even harder. Each burst of productivity leaves you more depleted. Each failure, no matter how small, brings guilt and shame. You work tirelessly to maintain the illusion of control, but the very structure meant to protect you becomes a source of silent suffering. Discipline transforms into both weapon and prison, a relentless machine that demands perfection while stealing the vibrant, chaotic essence of being human. You are productive, efficient, seemingly unbreakable, but inside you are exhausted, isolated, and aching. Every day is a silent war where victory is measured in survival, not joy. The breaking point arrives quietly, almost unnoticed, until it hits with full force. One small failure, a late alarm, a missed task, triggers a spiral of panic. Hands shake, heart races, and the world feels as if it is tilting uncontrollably. In the shower, in a quiet room, they collapse silently, letting tears fall where no one can see. The carefully maintained facade dissolves. For the first time, the truth pierces through. I am not strong. I am scared. The silence around them feels overwhelming, amplifying the fear that life is slipping beyond their grasp. Every controlled moment, every rigid routine suddenly feels fragile. They recognize that discipline, once a shield, has become a weight. And for a brief, raw moment, they are exposed, vulnerable, and utterly human. Society praises discipline as a virtue, a marker of strength and success, but rarely do they warn you about its shadow side. Extreme discipline often grows from trauma, from the fear that mistakes bring punishment or rejection. You learn to control everything because uncertainty once felt unbearable. Over time, control becomes a cage. Joy fades because every action is measured, every choice calculated. Spontaneity disappears, connection with others shrinks. You no longer celebrate success, you simply avoid guilt. You stopped living fully and started maintaining appearances, routines, and outcomes. Flexibility vanishes. Real discipline adapts. Trauma discipline rigidly constrains. It keeps you safe in the short term, but steals the richness of life, leaving behind exhaustion, isolation, and a quiet emptiness that no achievement can fill. The very quality praised as strength hides a hidden cost few ever speak about, the loss of aliveness itself. Healthy discipline grows from intention and self-trust. It allows you to pursue goals while adapting to change. You miss a workout, adjust, and continue without panic. Deadlines shift, and you reprioritize calmly. It feels purposeful,
energizing, and sustainable. Trauma discipline, by contrast, is fear-driven and rigid. You push through exhaustion, punishing yourself for small mistakes. A missed task triggers guilt, anxiety, and self-criticism. Flexibility feels unsafe, rest feels wrong, and control becomes an endless, draining cycle. One builds resilience and life, the other builds armor and isolation. Recognizing the difference helps you see where your own habits may be protecting pain rather than fostering growth. Healing begins when you realize rest is not weakness. Asking for help does not mean failure. Slowing down does not erase discipline. Feeling your emotions does not make you unsafe. It is a slow, quiet process of unlearning, allowing imperfections without judgment, practicing small acts of self-kindness, and letting others see the parts of you once hid. Each step is a gentle reclaiming of life from the armor of fear. Over time, control relaxes, and presence replaces constant vigilance. This is not abandoning discipline, it is transforming it into a tool that serves growth, connection, and authentic strength. Discipline is a tool, not a cage. You deserve a life, not a performance. You do not need to earn your right to rest. For years, you may have believed that constant control kept you safe, but at what cost? Has discipline protected you, or has it quietly imprisoned you without you noticing?